Have you ever really stopped to think about what happens when a local shop closes down or when a huge new factory opens up in town? It's never just about the owner's bank account. The truth is, every single business, big or small, is kind of like the center of a spider web, connected to all these different people and groups who have a real stake in its success or its failure. Today, we're going to untangle that web and talk about these key players, the stakeholders. So, here's our game plan. First, we're going to figure out who these key players really are, who has a stake in a business. Then, we'll look at how just one decision can send out these massive ripple effects. After that, we're diving deep into a pretty dramatic case study about a community that was pushed right to the edge. We'll see how they mapped out a comeback, and we'll try to figure out what it all teaches us about what a business truly owes its community. All right, let's jump right in. Our first big idea is all about looking past the bottom line. It's so easy to think that business is just about making money, right? But that's only one little piece of a much, much bigger and, honestly, more human puzzle. Seriously, take a second, picture your favorite local coffee shop or bookstore. If it just vanished tomorrow, who else feels that? I mean, yeah, the owner's out, but what about the baristas? They're suddenly out of a job. What about the local bakery that supplied all their scones? They just lost a huge client. Even the other shops on the street might see fewer people walking by. See? The impact spreads out way further than you'd think. And that, right there, brings us to our core idea for today, the stakeholder. It's a simple definition, basically anyone or any group that's affected by what a company does. But wow, the implications are huge. It completely changes the conversation. It makes us ask, is a company's only responsibility to its investors? Or does it owe something to the entire community it's a part of? And this whole ecosystem is, well, it's a constant balancing act. You've got your players on the inside, the owners who are laser-focused on profit, the managers trying to make it all run smoothly, and of course the employees who rely on that paycheck for their security. But then you have all these outside forces. You've got customers who want good stuff, suppliers who need consistent orders, and the government, which benefits from taxes. And then wrapping around the whole thing is the local community. They might love the jobs a factory brings, but they might also be really worried about the pollution it creates. Every single group has its own agenda, and believe me, they don't always line up. And this is exactly where we start to see that ripple effect I mentioned. A single decision a company makes, whether it's opening a new plant or, cutting costs by laying people off, is never, ever just a drop in the pond. It sends waves crashing out that can either lift everyone up or totally swamp every single one of those stakeholders we just talked about. And this really shows you the two sides of that coin. On the one hand, you've got what we call social benefits. Those are the positive ripples. We're talking job creation, investment in community projects, that kind of thing. But on the other side, you've got the social costs, the nasty stuff. This can be anything from pollution and waste to, in the worst-case scenario, the utter economic devastation that's left behind when a town's main employer just packs up and leaves. This is where the whole idea of ethical behavior becomes so critical. It's about a business making a conscious choice to put moral values first, to protect its workers, its community, and the environment, even if it means taking a hit on profits. But what happens when that moral compass just completely shatters? Well, the fallout can destroy an entire region, as we're about to see. Okay, so let's get out of the theoretical and see how this plays out in the real world. We're going to look at the story of a place we'll call Region X, where that ripple effect wasn't just a ripple, it was a full-blown tsunami. Just look at that number. 5,000. It just kind of hangs there, doesn't it? It's not just a statistic. It represents a massive shift that completely upended an entire community's future. So what is it? It's 5,000 jobs, 5,000 paychecks that just disappeared, almost overnight, when two massive coal mines, the absolute lifeblood of this region, shut their doors for good. For a community that was built entirely around this one industry, this wasn't just a recession, it was an economic catastrophe. And this is the scar that was left on the land. The whole area became the region's biggest brownfield site. Now that's a technical term, but it basically means a huge piece of land that used to be for industry and is now just abandoned and maybe even contaminated. It was so much more than empty space. It was a giant, ugly, everyday reminder of what they had lost. But here's the thing. The story doesn't end there, and all that rest in decay. Because out of the ashes of that crisis, a really bold, really ambitious new plan started to take shape. A blueprint for renewal that was designed to rebuild not just the economy, but the entire community. by putting every single stakeholder first. And this was no small-time fix. It was a total overhaul. It started with literally healing the land, a huge environmental cleanup to deal with the mining mess. Then they started rebuilding the foundations, putting in new roads and utilities to make the area attractive again. But here's the clever part. The goal wasn't to bring the old jobs back. It was to create brand new ones by bringing in industries built for the future, like tech and renewable energy. And maybe most importantly, they invested in the people. They built new schools and housing and started retraining programs to give the former miners the skills they'd need for this new economy. It was a complete reinvention from the ground up. So the story of Region X is just this incredibly powerful lesson, isn't it? It proves that you can't measure a business's worth by its profits alone. Its true value, its real value, lies in its sense of responsibility to its people, to its community, and to the very land it stands on. And the goal, as laid out right in the plan, was incredibly ambitious. The whole point wasn't just to replace what was gone, it was to build something even better, a vibrant, thriving hub for both the economy and the community. It's a perfect illustration of what's possible when the well-being of all stakeholders becomes the #1 priority. So what's the big takeaway here? Is that real, long-lasting success is always built on an ethical foundation. It means actually working to reduce pollution. It means being careful about who you do business with, and it means actively investing in the community to build trust. And this isn't just about charity or good PR. This is the very heart of what makes a business strong, resilient, and trusted. Which kind of leaves us with one final big question to chew on. Is the success of a business really just about the profit it makes for its owners? Or is it measured by the value it creates for everyone involved? The employees, the customers, the suppliers, and the community as a whole? When it comes right down to it, what do you think is the true measure of success?